love it. I love it. Can I get a little, the hand, Brussels, say it again, darling.
I was born in Brussels, Belgium.
Wonderful. Where is that? Right? More like, you mean it, more patriotic.
Je suis un cougar.
Beautifully. Wow. That's, I mean, that's like, what was that woman that burned at the stake? The movie they made.
Joan of Arc.
Yes, that's so.
That's why I was channeling just
You were
now.
totally channeling her. That's unbelievably. All right, I'm gonna get a tripod because I want this thing to be totally professional. All right,
Okay.
so here we go. I'm gonna cut. Could you put your, you don't need the yarmulke, put it down now. All right, so you're burning at the stake. Could you, what is that? The rope is over your brooch, honey.
Yeah.
Can you bring it down? Bring it down. Yes, nicely. No, no, you're burning at the stake. I don't feel that she feels it. I don't feel that she wants this. All right, that's it. Sober. Dear God in heaven.
Mon Dieu dans le ciel.
I wish for this movie to be a fucking amazing success.
J'ai besoin que ce projet ira le meilleur, jusque le meilleur.
The mayor.
The best. That's meilleur in French.
Right.
C'est mieux, c'est the best. C'est le mieux, c'est le mieux. Cet film, c'est le mieux.
Okay.
This film is the best.
All right, you sure you're not bullshitting me on this?
I'm not. That's
Because
all
this could go to Paris and then what?
to the Cannes Film Festival, right?
Well, come on. I wouldn't go that far. But I could put subtitles and I want this fucked up.
The camera's still going on. Oh, so anyway, so she forgot to give the code.
When you see the knife, you know something's wrong,
Okay.
okay? So I want you to react to the knife, but still try to do the monologue.
Okay.
And I'm gonna hold you, and I'm gonna, kind of like this. Bow, 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 all right?
Okay.
You cool with that?
Yeah,
You
just
good
don't
with that?
actually hit me.
Go!
Moran, Monica Moran. That's my stage name.
Louder!
The whole thing, it's my stage name. My real name's Blanche. No romance, right? That's why I call myself Monica. It's
More
what I
urgent.
prefer. But if I call my house and my mother answers, ask for Blanche.
Wow.
If you ask for Monica, she'll think you have the wrong number. And she'll hang up. And if she asks it about, don't tell her she's opposed to Monica.
You don't continue after you're being stabbed. There's
Told me to continue.
continue when you see the knife, you try to hold it together, but not during your murder.
Okay.
Do this in post. Go ahead.
Okay. Although a child is born soiled and besmeared with blood and continues to dirty himself, he is nevertheless liked by everyone.
I don't like that she
Will once
just...
again be lifted,
Well, look at
and
the
delivery
camera.
of children will immediately follow conception and be painless. This is
Okay.
amazing. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it's a wonderful text. All right, why don't you dance?
Should I put the
Just
book
put it
back?
down. Look, it's a holy book. Don't just throw it down anywhere.
I'm
Just,
not going to throw it down.
well, just put it somewhere nicely. Yeah. Sorry it's crappy here, but
It's okay.
it's all we
I need
have.
a sip of water.
Fine. God!
Oh, I love kitsch. I grew up with kitsch. My mother had a lot of kitsch when we were in Belgium and also in Boyle Heights, and throughout my life with her, living with her, she had actually good pieces and wonderful kitsch pieces too. English bone china that she collected, and Japanese dolls that people brought from Japan for her. Oh, it's oil pastel and underdrawing on the canvas, because what I do is I draw directly first with oil pastel onto the canvas, and then it changes as I work on it. This piece is a self-portrait of when I was a teenage actress, and I love cats. I love porcelain objects of animals, and I incorporate them into my work. This is an early series of the collages and assemblage pieces that I did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s with a found cat from a thrift shop, and I painted and embellished the cat, and then included my parents and my brother. My parents were Holocaust survivors, so it's an homage to them. It's a Holocaust piece. There she is. She's awake now. Good morning, Ashes. Good morning, sweetie pie. Hi. She likes the camera, actually. Look at her beautiful markings with the white fur around the back and the little tufts of white over here, and her beautiful pinky nose and her beautiful whiskers and eyebrow. It's so gorgeous. She's a beautiful kitty, very petite and delicate, but strong in her own way. She hardly weighs anything when I pick her up. And then her belly is like bunny rabbit fur. It's all white and soft. And this is more like tougher fur. My little girly whirly. I call her all kinds of names. And look, she looks like she's wearing eye makeup. I put eye makeup on eyeliner to go with hers. Everything is so kitschy, beautiful. And look at this beautiful little bird. I like this guy too.
Do you want it?
Yeah, I might get it too. I don't know if I'd ever use it.
Will you unpack him? Or?
No, I would leave him just like... See, I like packaged pieces too.
Yeah.
I have that cat and dog right there, the salt and pepper shaker. I use them in one of my early collages that I have at home, early self-portraits, but mine are all dusty.
You've had a great career so far as a visual artist, also as an actress, which I find so nice, how you have these two fields.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they work well for me because I make my art every day for exhibitions, and then there's the last minute auditions through my agents, and it's a lot of schlepping and memorizing.
But it's nice.
It works.
Keeps you active.
And it keeps me active. Bonne journée, bonne soirée.
Hi, everybody. Sean,
Hey,
do you want to
Marcus.
start?
Oh yeah, I'll
Hi.
start. So, hey everybody. I'm so glad everybody's able to be here. We've got a lot of people, and that's really amazing. We have some wonderful people who are going to be speaking, and Marcus will go over a little bit in a second, but other people will be invited up. If you're not a panelist and you want to speak, you'll be invited up to later. So I'm glad so many of you are able to join us. I'm Sean Meredith. I'm the director of Track 16 Gallery. We've shown Simone, on and off for 10 years. And today is just a great day to celebrate her life amongst friends and grieve her passing. I'm looking forward to hearing all everything everybody wants to say about it. It's been a tough time. Simone started flexing her creative muscle when she was like 4 years old. Her mom thrust her into showbiz right after moving to the United States. And for the next, 69 years, she straddled this world between art making and acting. And, last year when she went through this traumatic health struggle, immediately on arriving home and really starting to get better for a time, she was immediately making work again. And I visited her a couple times, and she kept making new pieces. And then it came to right up to a few days before her passing. Like I was supposed to visit her studio on a Sunday, and she passed a few days before, but she wanted to talk about her next show. I mean, she for her, being able to exhibit her work was like the biggest joy. And when a collector bought a work, I mean, she was so honored. Like, she had such love for the art community and for people who appreciated the work. And it just, that always really touched me when I would tell her about somebody getting a piece and something like that. You could just see it in her soul that she was really touched. And, you know, she showed with a lot of gallerists over the years, you know, whether it's like going way back with Molly Barnes or more recently with Ohm at BG. And, you know, she had an effect on everyone. And we're so lucky to have her in our lives. And, you know, you know, in her drawings, she kind of reached into darkness and showed us this great light. And when she painted, they were these whirlpools of acrylic, you know, these gooey worlds that she sometimes would describe as acid trips. And I'm just forever grateful to have known her and to enjoy the beautiful presence that was Simone Gad, and she'll live on in our hearts. So those are my words. You know. Anyway, thank you all. Marcus, you want to
Yes.
take on?
I got this. Hello everybody, welcome. Hi, Anna Broom. Anna is at the Anna's at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery right now. Anna, do you want to
Yes.
take it away?
Okay. First of all, hi. This is everyone. Oh wait, what's that showing everyone? Here's the niche, everyone. I want everybody to see. This is Simone's home, and Karen, Rosie, and Rosa, decorated it for her. Can everybody see? Here's a picture of Simone. Here are her glasses. Can you want to talk about some of the things in here?
Oh, okay.
This is beautiful Simone. This is her urn. This is a portrait of Simone I did for her.
And the photograph is Simone at our house for her birthday. I think it was in 2013 or 2014. So we decided to put a little cat in there. That's the cat goddess Bath, who protects cats. And Simone was a great cat protector, and her glasses. And this is sort of a Picasso-ish glasses holder as an artist.
We have the Betty Boop watch.
Betty Boop watch, and a lodestone that's very sparkly because Simone likes sparkles. So we decorated the back so it's not as plain as the other one. So when you come, you'll see the gold and the blue paper.
And Sean, here's your painting behind it. Do you see?
I see it, Anna. I see it. That's great.
Okay, so everybody,
Thank you all for coming.
thank you all for coming. We're all joining you over here from the niche.
We have our glasses on.
We have our glasses on. Hold on, let me put on my glasses.
We have our glasses on and our shiny jewelry on.
And our shiny jewelry. Okay, I have on my glasses.
See, if any of you want the Philip funeral this morning, see, I'm trying to beat out the queen. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Reed and Rose. Rose took care of Simone so much when she was out of the hospital. We're grateful for Rose. Here is Rita, who was her best friend since she was 4 years old. And her beautiful husband.
Would you like to have the Zoom playing when they close the?
Okay, so everybody, this is live from the niche. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Anna. Thank you, Anna. Wow, amazing. It's so beautiful that how you decorated her niche. Hi, I'm Mark.
Ken Rosie had a lot. Rosa had a lot to do with it too. But
it looks beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Marcus Quilang Nazario. I am the boss of the Wrinkle Room, along with Liz Garrow and Michelle Carr. If we could all turn our cameras off and mute ourselves, so we can continue. Anna, your camera's still on. Thank you, Anna.
There we go. Thank you.
So in the chat, we will include where Simone is located in case you'd like to visit her. She's at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery and not at Forest Lawn. Once again, I'm Marcus. Simone was part of Simone's been a part of my life since I was 15 years old. I met her in 1980 when she had an exhibition at Cal State LA of her early assemblages, her assemblage works. I was there studying theater. I was on a play called The Shadow Box by Michael Christopher. And I saw like some flyers around. There were people in the cast who were like, oh, you've got to come to this art opening that's happening here on campus. And I was like, sure. So I go to this opening. I'm 15 years old, young little faglet, actor, artist. And I see Simone. I lay eyes on Simone and her work and all the people there. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I want this for myself when I grow up. Like how wonderful this community of people, artists that are surrounding Simone. And we've been friends ever since. We got the honor and privilege of showing her work at Crazy Space at the 18th Street Art Center, which was a space that was spearheaded by Asher Hartman, whose film you saw at the top of this memorial. And I wanted to thank Alexander, who'll be speaking later, for his film that he shot that we also saw. Simone was a part of the Wrinkle Room community, and she really enjoyed Andrew, who's our host at the Wrinkle Room. And she was also part of a queer, a weekly queer Zoom call of artists that's been hosted for half of the pandemic by myself, Judy Cisneros, and Rebecca Esparza. And she was just such a pleasure to have be part of our group. So I would like to hand it over now to our Wrinkle Room host. He will be introducing folks two at a time, and then followed by a video. So we have a list going of panelists that have a panelist link, and then we'll be calling on you to speak. And when you're called upon by Andrew, when you're called upon by Andrew or Michael, please turn on your camera and your microphone so that we can see and hear you. Everyone else, please keep your cameras and microphones off. At the end of this, we will everyone will have an opportunity to share. And so we'll just ask you to raise your hand if you'd like to share, and then we'll call on you, and then you will have the floor. Martian DeLellis it showed at Track 16 in an exhibition called Stuck Together, along with Deborah Brose and Simone. And that's where Martian met Simone. And it was wonderful to watch their friendship blossom and grow and become a beautiful thing. Martian has made some interstitial videos that you'll be seeing throughout today's memorial. And thank you, Marshall. The videos are really quite beautiful. I'd like to hand it over now to Andrew Abelson from the Wrinkle Room. Thank you very much, everybody.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Splendid. I am Andrew Abelson, Sir Dandy Lux, exiled Crown Prince of Kaftanistan, coming to you live from the penthouse here. You know, Simone was slated to be our next artist, our next featured artist in the Wrinkle Room. And so since her passing, we've decided to honor her with by co-hosting this memorial along with Track 16 and the 18th Street Art Center. So this afternoon, I'll be shuffling things to you in hopefully the order that we decided on, but anything could happen. I'll be doing two guest speakers and then one of Martian Delos's videos. So, and then that will repeat and repeat until everyone has had a chance to speak and give tribute. Then, as Marcus said, afterwards we'll be opening up the forum for anyone to just, you know, scream their heads off, cry, talk, you know, get in a fight in the name of Simone. So our first speakers today are Linda Jacobson and Mark Gould. I'm not sure what order they're coming in, but that will be followed by the first Martian DeLellis video. So I'm going to hopefully open up the floor to you guys, and you'll be ready to speak. Off we go.
Hi, can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to speak today because Simone was a lifelong friend, a gift to me. Having a lifelong friend is a gift, and it seems there's so many of you that had a long time relationship with her. It's so wonderful to be here with everyone and to see the love. And what was really wonderful was that knowing Simone, knowing her strength, her vulnerability, her sweetness, and her funniness. And it was just constant. We had so much fun in the early days of downtown when the first wave of the art movement happened in downtown LA. It was really incredible. We'd have lunch at Little Tokyo. We go to art openings, and I loved going to her house that was filled when she was actually married at the time. Her house was filled with her assemblages and installations all over her house. I mean, everywhere, every nook and cranny of her house was filled with art. And then when she had her place in Los Feliz, it was the same thing. There was even more art everywhere. And her strength during all her financial struggles, she just kept dedicated to her vision and committed to her art, and committed to that that emotional depth of connecting to a really deep place within her that was always, there was just no fear of going into those dark places and bringing them out into the light. So it was such a privilege to know her for all these years and to stay in contact with her. And I remember a few times during the early 80s, maybe mid 80s, we went to New York together showing our work, walking around to galleries, going to punk art openings. And she was just always a delight. And I will miss her very, very much, because to me, she is the image of an artist totally dedicated to creativity, to a creative life, in an authentic voice, in a really, really magical, fun way. So thank you. Thanks so much.
We can hear you faintly, Mark, if you speak up a bit though. It's faint no matter what, Mark. Maybe just try and just speak up loudly through it. Closer to your face is better.
Should we come back to Mark? Marcus, are you talking?
Yeah, here we go. Why don't we come back to Mark and move forward, and Mark will try to resolve your technical problem. Oh, he's going to do it by chat. Well, we could hear his keyboard very well.
I'll go ahead and start the Marzan screening next.
Laissez-moi un message, s'il vous plaît. Leave me a message, thank you.
Welcome to Simone's Zoomerl. I'm Martian DeLellis. I have been a friend of Simone's for the last several years. I first became aware of Simone running into her at art openings, where she was often accompanied by Cherie Rose. I heard that Simone was a former child actor and outsider artist, but I didn't know her all that well. That all changed one day when Sean Meredith suggested we partner for an exhibition at Track 16. I saw pages of her journals. She painted animal portraits on top of vintage pinups. I was immediately hooked. Her collages were obsessive and soulful, but we needed a third artist. I suggested Deborah Brose, who was working on mutant ceramic bunnies. The exhibition was called Stuck Together. It wasn't so much that we were stuck with each other, rather, Simone, Deborah, and I bonded over time. We shared playful, handcrafted responses to mass-produced objects and images, charged with autobiographical fragments. Every piece had a story. When I asked Simone about one of her paintings, she told me about eating dim sum after a breakup in the 70s. I admired her way of taking life's rough moments and making beauty out of them. And she never stopped producing work, even when she was in and out of the hospital. In one of her last pieces, she combined photos from her colonoscopies with her pinups. I could go on and on about Simone, but I'd rather you hear about her in her own words.
My family and I came from Belgium in 1951. They were Holocaust survivors. My whole family were in the concentration camps and forced labor and in the ghettos. We settled in Boyle Heights, and my mother got me into showbiz instantly when I was 4 years old. So I became a Magdalene Kitty and grew up in Hollywood. Magdalene Kitty was a studio where Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney went to study acting, singing, piano, dance, where I went, but I sucked at acrobatics and everything except for tap dancing, and I loved acting, and I was a so-so singer. I'm starting off with this because I grew up in Hollywood, and I quit acting many times because I had a lot of difficulty as an ingenue and child and teenage actress, and that there were molestations and really dark pedophilia stuff that I had to fight. And then I got involved in the art world as a young adult. I couldn't afford to go to art school, but Wallace, Berman, and Hansen were my first mentors, and Al Hansen got me involved in the Fluxus movement in 1972. So I had been a fiber artist, a fabric artist. My father was a custom European tailor. The whole family were tailors. And he was the first person who taught me how to draw. I learned how to draw a camel and a house when I was a little girl.
Is it me?
You're on it.
Yes, welcome back.
Hello, welcome back. This is as smooth as it gets, I'm afraid, today. It's been a little strange, but she is clearly an amazing person and complex, and will be missed. We have two speakers now, again, who are old friends of Simone. And I just want to caution everyone, it's not about who's just spoken or who's going to speak, but if we can keep everything as concise as possible, so we can have as many time for fuck ups as we can. Just keep the speeches fairly concise, so that we can get this rolling along. That would be wonderful. The next speakers are Joan Quinn and Isabel Rojas, two old friends of Simone. So hopefully I can just hand this over to them again. And Michael, do your magic, and then we'll see another video by Martian after that. Away we go.
Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Joan. We can hear you.
Hello, it's Joan Quinn, and I'm so happy to be a part of Simone's life. I've been a part of it for many, many years. I feel so honored that she made portraits of me, and I remember her going into the closet and saying, can I use this? Can I use that? And I was going, no, you can't use that because I'm still using it. And she said, no, this is very, very important for my piece. So she would take what she wanted. She made the same kind of thing for my daughters, Jennifer and Amanda, twins. And we have kept Simone in our life forever, including me today.
Thank you. Isabel, you're up. You're muted, Isabel.
Hi, sorry about that. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for making this so beautiful, so much like Simone. And I just wanted to say that Simone was a fabulous person to all of us, no matter what language, what ethnicity. Whenever I ran into her, wherever, in all those art openings and her exhibitions, she was so welcoming. She always make us, all of us, feel like we were friends for decades. And so I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to know her and to appreciate her friendship and her artworks. That's it. Thank you.
Can anybody hear me now? Hear me now?
Yes, Mark, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay, anyway, look, I'm in Moscow and I want to go to sleep soon, but I wanted to be here because I knew Simone about 50 years from LA. And basically what I wanted to say was two things. And number one, Simone knew she was a spiritual being, and that was really important to her. And she wrote something that was beautiful that I wanted to use today. And that was this. She said she knew she was a hero to a lot of people who respected and loved her and knew that she did her careers no matter what, despite being extremely disabled. And the love that comes with that is typical Simone. And I owed her an answer to a question of how am I staying in Moscow? And I'll just think the thought to her. But I really miss her, and I'm really glad for this opportunity. But I thought the bit about her being a hero to a lot of you and being respected by you, and the fact that you loved her was important to say. So that's all. Thanks.
So art stuck with me, and I decided very early on that I wanted to have an art and acting career, which was very taboo because you were only allowed to have one career or you were considered a dilettante. So I was fighting that, but I knew inherently that I had to do both, that my art would save me with the acting when things were difficult, and then back and forth. And I would go to Frederick's of Hollywood, and I fell in love with the catalogs of the sexy girls that were negligees, and they were nude underneath, and also sexy corsets and bras. So that stuck with me. And then years later, I found myself, many years later, starting to make the pinups with animal rescue drawings, because I've always loved animals of all kinds, but I wasn't allowed to have a pet at home. Neither was my brother. And I had a deep, deep love for animals, which I carry to this day, and I feel that they're the best part of us. I pair the pinups with the animals, and they protect each other. And the pinups they start off from circa 1850s to 1970s, which includes some of my self-portraits with the Polaroids, some of which are over here. That's one of them with the red parrot. And then there's a couple of others. There's an Airways with a black bunny. I love bunnies too, and I hate that they're being experimented on. And with these farming cages, it's really nightmarish. So I've been making more bunny drawings too to go with the pinups. I did a collaboration with the late John Schroeder in the 70s and Joe and Rick Potts at Otis. I was modeling at that time and showing my work. I was starting to show my work in museums and galleries. Because I had to make a living, and I hadn't decided to go back to acting until later in life, in my 40s. And then when I got back into acting, I decided to stick with it and do both careers for the rest of my life.
Hello again. That's, yeah, incredible. I'm getting a little echoing, but can everyone hear me?
All set.
Okay, great. Am I muted?
We can hear you.
Okay, fine. I love the fact that she went to the same school as Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney. That's real serious Hollywood. What a fabulous life. Our next two speakers are Pavel Lachowski and Matthew Joel I'm so sorry. Kraniak? I think that's how it was written. Matthew Joel Kraniak and Pavel Lachowski are going to be speaking next, and then another one of Martian's videos will appear. Okay, over to you, Michael.
When you're ready, Pavel.
Oh, yes, I am ready. Hello, everyone. I met Simone in 2015, in my first month in LA. It was a gift. We met at a downtown farmer's market introduced by Bud Thomas. I saw a small, cheerful lady in the most fabulous glasses I had ever seen. We all know the glasses. To me, she looked like a star with an old Hollywood glamour. I didn't know at the time that it was one of my luckiest days in California. Immediately, she became part of my LA family. One of the reasons why in the distant country I always felt at home. When we started talking, we could not finish, and this is how our journey began. Together, we played in a movie called Driving Miss Simone. We shared a passion for Californian art spaces. We wanted to see everything. For the next year, we were driving together every week to all the art exhibitions in the county. She taught me how to drive in LA safely and carefully. I drove, and she bossily instructed me and told fascinating personal stories about the history of LA art scene and about her experience in the picture industry and about her art. I got from her the whole package, the art, the movies, and the driving lessons. I didn't know at the time that it was my American dream. I know it now, when she's gone. She was the best companion ever, sweet, understanding, and wise. We talked a lot about her Jewish family, born in Poland, where I am from. My accent reminded her of the long-gone parents. We went to so many galleries and diners together, sharing the pleasure of looking at art and eating and exploring the city. She showed me the heart and the soul of Los Angeles because she was it and she lived it all. I remember her as an excellent performance artist of the spoken word, and as a survivor. She kept telling me, I am not ready to go yet, Pavel. It was her line. I am not ready to go. But her time has come. We lost her. To me, losing Simone is like losing Los Angeles. After I had to come back to Europe, we would speak regularly on Skype, fantasizing about driving and eating together, about going to our favorite burger joint in Pasadena, about curating together her exhibition of naughty pinups in Santa Monica again. We plotted our reunion in Berlin. She was a young soul all her life, a creative girl, always looking into the future, like there is no end. Without Simone, Los Angeles will never be the same. I am waiting for her in my dreams. I hope that she visits and I would be blessed again with her presence. At least dreaming, Miss Simone. Thank you.
When you're ready, Matthew.
This is my letter to Simone. Simone, I miss you. I thought I'd have more time with you. I thought I'd have you for a few more decades. My eccentric guru, my LA grandma, my friend. Thank you for treating me as an equal, for making me feel like I really am who I know I am. I remember us working together, getting sushi, laughing, talking, discussing art, aliens, and Atlantis. You were so cool. You lived your life the way you wanted to. You did things your way. You had the strength to be yourself. You acted in movies and showed in galleries. You were in the sky and I was on the ground, and I still can't believe that I was your friend. Your effect on me will remain. I will think of you and continue creating. Josh and I threw flowers into a river a few weeks back, and each time we threw one in, we said a memory about you that we were thankful for. I know you would have loved it. I love you, Simone. Thank you.
So I met Lori in 2010. Actually, I met her way early, a lot in years before that. I always loved Track 16, and I had a strong feeling that I could connect with this venue. And then I was in touch with Lori for a long time. Then she invited me to lunch in Chinatown, and she asked me to bring this new series of pinups with animals, and I was working with Sharpies at that time. So then Lori told me that she wanted to include me in Track 16 for the punk show, and she gave me a beautiful installation. And they're here, some of them. The gallery kept the early ones, which are at the bottom, which is really great. And then Sean invited me to do a 2 or 3 person show here, so, which was really thrilling for me. And then I worked on the rest of the series. It's a combination of French lesbian pinups from the 40s and 50s that Pierre Picot sent me from Paris in a magazine. So I cut up the whole magazine to make that series. There included all of them here. And then Elmer Batters, who was a sailor in the 40s during World War II. And then he formed a club, a photography club of amateur photographers, and started taking photographs of models from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And he had a big foot fetish. So I included, they're included here too. He loved feet and shoes and stockings. So, and then he'd work up higher and higher to the rest of the body.
So sorry. Sorry, everyone. Wow, what a woman. she's inspired these glasses, which I can barely see out, but I'm going to keep them on for as long as I can. Thanks everyone for really speaking your hearts out. It's just wonderful to hear. And I think any one of us would be thrilled to bits to have a third of the amount of people saying such eloquent and heartfelt things about you after you pass. So thank you. I'm going to raise a toast to you all. Next up, we have performance artist Michelle Fab and artist Lily Mueller, who's going to be saying their pieces, and then another one of Martian's fabulous videos, which I'm really enjoying. Okay, here we go.
Hi, everyone. Wow. Simone, welcome home. My God, getting the news on Facebook of your passing was so poignantly sad. I remember the times with Asher Hartman at Crazy Space when I first got to know you and your amazing work and your performances. I was so captivated by your crazy clown Holocaust series. I remember I wanted to buy one of your pieces, but I didn't yet have the money. And you didn't give a shit. You treated me like I was Peggy Guggenheim. You had a real knack for making people feel special, for making people feel significant, and for making just, I don't even know how to explain it. Just being in your presence was a gift. You had a real gift for love and for focus and for attention. And that was a real gift to be bestowed with when I was in your presence, and seeing you performing alongside you with Asher Hartman in some various works. I was so floored by your ability to go to the ledge and then go right off it without any kind of fear. And this is a complete lack of humility and sense of freedom and abandon. I always found so inspiring in knowing your history as a child actor and history in film. It was just a real treat and a treasure as a young artist to be alongside you, to be following you, to be in your presence. And you are so greatly missed. And I'm so happy that we're all able to be here and honor you.
Lily, are you here? Lily Mueller?
Hello, I'm here.
Perfect.
I'm here, and it's really, really hard to do things like this, and I don't even know where to start. It makes me all very emotional, even though I usually don't seem like I am very emotional. I just want to say that I really, really miss her, and it was quite a shock that it was so abrupt. Her passing was really very, very sad, and she was always so upbeat and inspiring and really supporting all of us artists around her, lifting them up. And just like what the previous person just said, she just made you feel special around her. She had that kind of way of just lifting you up in a way and always inspiring you and keep you going. And we had that European background, me being German, we had long discussions about Holocaust and all of that, which are not that many people that you can talk about. I really appreciated that with the background that we had. I just want to thank you all for doing this, because it is so beautiful to hear all the wonderful stories about her. And sail away, Simone. Thank you, guys. How do I do this? Yeah. No.
then the paintings in the early 1990s, because I've been doing this career for 56 years, and I showed in New York with Monique Knowlton when I was doing my assemblage Hollywood pieces, and my work is archived in MoMA PS1 from 1980 forward, and also at the One Library at USC. But at any rate, I started showing with a gallery on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I had made a series of pinups with little bits of facades of buildings, vintage buildings from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, because I love architecture. And she suggested that I start painting buildings without collage too, as a separate series. So I started making small ones, and then they got bigger and bigger. And then I made the Chinatown series when I was showing with a gallery, L2 Contemporary. So I took pictures of Chinatown Plaza, the pagodas there, and the food dogs, and they turned into an extensive series from that. But going back a little bit to the early 70s, I had a Chinese boyfriend that I was madly in love with, who took me to dim sum every Sunday. And that stayed with me. And then seeing the difference between Brussels and Chinatown just inspired me so much from childhood. And I would go to the souvenir shops and buy tchotchkes in the souvenir stores for my early assemblages. And my mom collected all kinds of kitsch, Belgian kitsch, Polish kitsch, Japanese, English bone china. So I was surrounded by that all these years. And kitsch became, you know, I sniffed it and it fell into my body. And
Wow, what a cliffhanger. The last of our remote speakers is Pat Dawson. And then we're going to see another couple of clips. And then I'll hand it back to Marcus and Sean, I think. But for now, here is Pat Dawson, and we'll see you soon.
Following Pat will be Cherie.
Oh, okay. I just lost the Zoom thing. I'm sorry. And following Pat will be Cherie, apparently. I was told she wasn't going to, but I guess she is. Well, marvelous.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. First of all, thank you so much to Lily Mueller for giving me the information to be present here today. I still feel like I am one of Simone's commercial agents for over 20 years. That's commercials for TV. I've known Simone since the late 80s and always valued her as a special friend. Every conversation, I mean, I can't even express how special every conversation with Simone was. And I think one of the things that I'll miss most about her is her voice, sometimes whispering, sometimes with urgency, but always caring and full of wisdom. My house is full of gifts from Simone. She never forgot a holiday, calling and wishing a happy. I'd like to share with you a Christmas gift from 1997 from her pinup series. This is one of my favorite, and I will treasure it forever. Simone, I miss you, I love you, and thank you for having been in my life. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Pat. Cherie, we are promoting you from the audience upwards, and so just turn on your camera for us when you can. We need you to unmute there, Cherie.
Mute. All right. Can everybody see me and hear me?
Hi, darling.
Oh, hi, everybody. This has been so, everyone says, Simone touched everyone. She had a very magical quality about her. It almost was like she was from another planet or another universe. And she just came down to earth, and we were honored to have her in our lives. I was friends with her on Facebook for years, and I always liked all her things and never met her. And then the Mike Kelly retrospective at, I think it was, where was it at? The Geffen? I don't even know what year that was, but it was after Mike had died, I think. My memory, I'm older than Simone, so my memory is not so great. But we met, I think Dan Babcock and Bud Thomas was there as well. And we started talking about Boyle Heights. And we discovered that we both had grown up in Boyle Heights. I was a little older than her, but our families were both there. And we talked a lot about Cantor's. And in fact, later on in our friendship, we would meet regularly at Cantor's Deli. And we would always go before 10:30 in the morning, because then you got the special. So we both had to drive there, her from Hollywood and me from Culver City, but we would meet in Cantor's, and we had just delightful times together. And I loved her work. I loved everything that she did. And when I had a show at, I guess my brain is going, in downtown LA called Every Breath You Take, and with Jeffrey Valens and Rhiannon Ahrens and myself. Bob Flanagan was there, and in spirit, and she did these wonderful drawings, and Martin O'Brien, of course. So she did these wonderful drawings of, I got her photographs of Bob, of Martin, and myself, and she did these wonderful drawings. Unfortunately, I never got any of them, so I don't have any of her art, which I feel sort of regretful about now. And then we did a wonderful performance, Bob Flanagan's Sick Clinic, the sexual sick clinic, and she was one of the intake nurses. And I wish I had video of that, but I don't. But she was delightful in that. And everyone had to come in there and they had to tell her what their sexual problem was. And then she would write it down and then come into us, and we would do whatever we would do with that patient. Anyway, we had a lot of fun together. She had a great sense of humor. We laughed a lot. And at one of our times in Cantor's, I videoed, my friend videoed the two of us, and we planned to do a two-woman show of talking about two old Jewish women meeting at the doctor's office, about talking about our heart attacks, but finding out that we're children together in Boyle Heights. And so there's like an hour of that my friend videoed for us. And I'm hoping sometime in the near future to make that a realization, because besides her being a great artist and just being funny, she was just a wonderful, sweet, her personality, she was just so sweet about everything. And she didn't really complain. I complain about everything. She complained about nothing. I miss her so much, but I'm hoping to make this project happen. And that will be a great memory for myself to share it with the world. Thank you, everybody. It's really been wonderful to be part of this.
Chinatown, to me, I hope that it stays forever, but so much of the architecture of Los Angeles has disappeared, and I feel it's part of me and my responsibility as an artist with the way I work to rescue Chinatown in my work. And I also made a series of Victorian buildings and craftsmen. And then Belgium too. Belgium, Art Nouveau facades, because I have a strong connection there as well throughout these years. So the more of Los Angeles that disappears, the more I'm driven to make paintings to save them in a painting, even though I can't save them in life as much as I would like to. And I also make male pinups as well.
Andrew?
Yes.
Hi, Andrew.
That is what you call an abrupt finish. I thought she was going to go on a bit longer.
Yeah.
Ah, well.
You never know with Simone. So sometimes she did go on a. She could go on a bit. I wanted to thank you, Andrew, for coming on board and doing this. I didn't want to do this, and because I was going to be too emotional to be able to do what Andrew was doing. So I asked Andrew to do this at the very last minute, and I I did, and I want to thank you so much. I wanted to just thank you because
my pleasure
for helping us honor our beloved Simone. And thank you for being our host at the Wrinkle Room. Do you have anything coming up that you want to tell us about?
I do. It's something that I would love, eventually to work into more of a Wrinkle Room way that we could work with him. But a friend of mine who is an amazing jazz pianist called Kevin Gersowitz up in San Francisco, I worked with him years ago when I lived there and ran clubs there, and he was just the best performer and accompanist. He does a regular Sunday brunch jazz. It's a piano bar on Facebook basically, and you can go there and he will take requests, and you can chat to each other, and you can tip him if you want, you can not tip him if you don't want, and it's really beautiful. I mean, he immediately sees your requests and he can play almost anything. And I thought it might be a good place for these people to go and maybe, make a request for Simone in the name of Simone, and, just sing along at home, or he'll sing it with you. And he's a great guy. And I think it might be a nice place to go after this. And maybe we can make it into more of a Wrinkle Room thing, over time. But I do it every Sunday and make requests for my mum in England, and she's listening, and it's cute. So Kevin Gersowitz, and I think Michael's going to put it in the chat, his name.
Yes, if you could put it in the chat. Thank you so much, Andrew. I think
pleasure.
I can hold it together now.
I know you're going.
So now, yes. So I just gotten a thank you, Andrew.
Goodbye.
Talk to you soon. Put everything in the chat, please. So now we are Ezra's here. So now this part of the memorial now is people. We are going to have people. All of you can now speak, and so I think you need to raise your hand. And then Michael and Sean are here. And if you raise your hand, I think Michael will let you in to share. And I'd like to start with Ezra. And then also please be mindful of the time, because there are many of us here. Thank you. So Michael, I'll let you do your thing.
Hello, so we just brought forward Ezra. Go ahead and turn on your camera there. And so what I'm going to do is anyone raising their hands, I'm just going to promote you, and feel free to take turns to turn your camera on.
Okay, hopefully. All right, do you have me to some extent?
Hi, Ezra. We see you and hear you.
Hey, and I apologize, number one, for being late. I think I mentioned to you, I've been in New York, and I was in transit to Bucks County, and I'm just in Bucks County, Pennsylvania for today. Long story, but you know, I did have a few remarks. I mean, I suppose in a way they're very much in keeping. I mean, we've lost quite a few artists and friends. Simone was both to me. She was both a neighbor and a friend. And I began thinking about this in terms of my friends and artists, same people, same neighborhood. We were literally neighbors. We lived like 4 blocks from one another. The nature of appearances and disappearances, which I think is acute to all of us over the last year, this pandemic year. And also the notion of the souvenir, which, you know, I was sort of reawakened to, thanks to not only Simone, of course, and Simone's work, but conversations that I've had in the meantime. And first of all, with respect to appearances, disappearances, I was always aware of her acute awareness of the tenuousness, the fragility, the precarity of appearances and their physical embodiment. You know, I'm not going to go into a theoretical gloss on her life, but she, you know, as both an artist and a Hollywood professional, she, you know, was very assertive of her presence in our world. And you feel that in every stroke of her brush, every, you know, or her pen or pencil, it, you know, all of it, that trace, that marking meant something to her, you know, that it was by her own hand. I'm sure I'm not alone in not having fully come to terms with her departure. It's just not the way we would have done it. We really did think she was going to hang on for some more time. She had, it was like the contract was not written right. There was something wrong with the script, but you know, she continues in everything she left behind, in our memories. She continues to go on, and she will go on. We have those marks. We have the marks that she left on us, on her work, and on the place where she lived, Los Angeles. I mean, I think she made that very clear in that last clip about, you know, just the landmarks, the old houses of Angelino Heights, Chinatown. I mean, I thought that was extraordinarily vivid. So, I mean, this flows from a conversation that I had with Martian. And I wanted to say that we have her souvenirs. We have them in abundance. And, you know, I had a very, you know, like all of us in the kind of, especially in the section of the world that I inhabit, where we're very much invested in a certain kind of critical discourse, you know, that observes certain standards, the artistic canon, if you will, a canon. And Simone's embrace of kitsch, in a way, sort of goes against that to some extent. And then I realized, as I was thinking about this, these souvenirs, her love of these things, her love of the kitsch, the discarded, the cheap, was that it was very much of a piece with the rest of her work, which had to do with, you know, rescue, which had to do with, I mean, it was much more. I'm just gonna read from some of my notes here. I mean, I saw someone else using their notes, and I'm glad I'm not the only one. So, you know, as I say, there's a built-in bias for so many of us who have this discourse around standards of profession, you know, the artistic canon, to dismiss garish secondhand imitations or the cliched simulacra of mass commercial producers as disposable, gimmickry, kitsch, trash, notwithstanding our selective embrace of work that may incorporate, piles of it. But there was something more going on there. And as I put it into perspective with her work, the pinups, the rescue animals, the food dogs and pagodas, the porn shop peep show fragments and penny arcades, I suddenly understood her embrace and affection for these objects, which were not simply materials to be incorporated into constructions or collaged into works on paper or canvas, but were in fact part of her subject. High glossed and gussied up, hose stocking, corseted, harnessed, putting their bravest face on a bad business, second unit, third runner up, miscongeniality, rejected and also ran, rescued from the pound, 24-hour kill shelter, half off the counter, the throwaway bin, dive bar, motel lobby, coffee shop, dirty dungeon, incinerator, and offered them a place in the pagoda, the reliquary, the jewel box, guarded by the food dogs, protected and comforted by similarly rescued dogs, cats, and bunnies. The other thing I would say is that she, as we all know, she was never far from an edge of desperation. I'm not talking about a psychological state necessarily, but her whole background, her whole history, from her parents, experience in the Holocaust. She understood the razor's edge divide between, as Primo Levi might put it, the drowned and the saved, and the randomness of it all. To rescue, redeem, savor, and hold on to the moment in all its rose-tinted, awkward, corny, squirmy, sexy, intimidating, affectionate, and delusional glow might turn that desperation to an expression of simultaneous mercy, outrage, and defiance. That is what I take from, that is my souvenir of Simone. And I cherish it. It's important to me. I think it's important to our community. It's important to our city, and it's important to the planet she lived on, the planet she graced for not quite enough years. And sending my love out to the cosmos wherever her stars are scattered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ezra. Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you, Simone.
And thank you, Simone, exactly.
Yeah. So now I wanted to thank Andrew again for coming in to basically move things along for those that had the confirmed and had the panelist Zoom link. So now it's my turn to wrangle this Zoom free-for-all memorial. So if you'd like to speak, what I think we'd like to do is put your name in the chat. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm terribly sorry. So put your name in the chat and then we will call on you. Please stay muted. And if you want to have your camera on so we can watch you cook or drink your beer or whatever you're doing, that's cool. And then we will go in order of the people that have put their name in the chat. And then Michael will promote you so that you can speak or whatever Michael's Zoom magic is. I wanted to thank Michael Ono and the 18th Street Art Center for helping us with this memorial today for Simone. I also want to remind you, this comment is not in reference to anyone that has already spoken or that's about to speak, but please keep your comments brief. We're at 2:27 already. So we need to wrap up probably in the next 20 minutes or so. So please keep your comments brief and loving and brief. We're hoping to have a memorial in person when we can all gather. So the next person I see here on the list here is
I thought I saw Corey at the top.
Yeah, Corey, and then Julie, and then Linda Smith.
Corey read. Okay, great.
You hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Just I wanted to thank everyone, and it's kind of my worst nightmare following Ezra and anything. But you know, I met Simone at an art opening that I was hosting, and I think she was talking about the Holocaust in the first 5 minutes, and I instantly fell in love with her. She just became like a kindred spirit, and I think so many people had that with her, and the way she was able to touch people is so inspiring. And that woman was just 5 feet of I don't know, energy. Like, she was just incredible. I've never or rarely seen an artist work as hard as she did. And I just loved going over there and seeing what she was working on. And I was always worried that she was buying paint instead of buying food. She was always just like incredibly generous. Every time we went out, she tried to treat me. And I knew damn well she couldn't afford it. But, you know, she was just that person. And I'll value her. I'll value knowing her for the rest of my life. She was a wonderful artist, and she was just a total badass. And she's gone too soon. So, thanks.
Thank you so much, Corey. Jody, or Julie, I'm sorry. Julie Rico.
Sorry about that. I do miss her very much. We were supposed to have a long texting conversation. We would go out for pie. And yes, you're right, Corey. She did always want to treat, and you had to like make sure she didn't treat you. And she wanted to trade for the longest time. So we did a trade because there was a small painting she wanted, and she invited me over. And she wanted a small painting, but she had me bring 3 because in case she changed her mind and wanted a different one. So, but the one I selected, I just wanted to share with her. I miss her very much. And anyway, so this is the one that I had selected, and I hope that you can see it. It's called Made for Love. And I just think it's a beautiful piece. And she was very special. So that's all. So anyway, I miss her. So I'm sure we all do.
Thank you so much.
Julie Rico.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Julie.
Okay, great. Hey, so I just want to say that I met Simone working at the B1 Gallery on Main Street. And I just gotten off the boat from a small town living in Michigan. I really didn't know a lot about the art world or what it meant to be in the art world, and certainly not in Los Angeles either. And their first words to me were, "I'm an outsider artist," which I really, again, I was just off the boat, so I really didn't know a lot. I didn't know what that meant. But what I came to learn was it meant being an inclusive art person, a person in the art world that includes everyone versus an exclusive art person. And this really helped me understand the art world a little bit better. And I have to give her huge thanks for opening my mind to every kind of thought, every kind of person, every kind of art that is out there. There is no limit to creativity. And I think that she really embodied that in every way. And I'm so happy that I was able to spend a few dinners with her. She was one of the most charming people. And I love you, Simone, and onward. Thank you.
Okay, and our next person is Linda Smith, please. Linda? Linda, going once, going twice. Linda Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Seeley. Joe, you're here.
Hey, can you
Join.
hear me, peoples?
Yes, I can.
I knew Simone very briefly, working on a piece with Asher Hartman, and we were acting together in a film. One of Asher's first video pieces that I knew he was working on. And let's see, I don't know how to start my video, so you're just gonna have to hear my voice, I'm afraid. I'll be brief. She was very delicate, and I guess the image that came to mind is she was kind of like a fallen leaf, and she needed help up and down stairs, but she was very sweet and very persistent and a lot stronger than her body. And I remember kissing her cheek, and it was as soft as a pillow. And that's all I wanted to say. It was a joy to know her for the moments that I did. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. So I just want to let everybody know that Simone Gad was a member of Asher Hartman's God Awful Theater, as many of us are here today are members of that company. Linda Smith, you're up. You're muted. Unmute. Thank you, Linda.
Anyway, Simone was such a wonderful, talented woman, and she had a complicated life, and she was very sensitive, and I miss her presence, and I have a few of her pieces, and I'm glad she made a huge impact because it was so important to her, and her work was so powerful. And it's just such a loss for the community and everything. And I love her brushstrokes and her intensity and her talent. And I even have one she did of a kitty cat of me, a kitty cat with, she gave me a sketch, but I have a few very sweet, wonderful pieces. And, I'm so happy that the community recognizes her because she had such a struggle physically, and it was just very hard for her. And I always tried to help. I think she was a dear soul. Okay, I miss her in the community and all that. I can't believe she's gone. Anyway, here. I love this piece. It's with Marilyn Monroe. Says it all. Okay.
Thank you, Linda. Alexander, are you here? Alexander?
Yes,
there
I'm
he
here.
is.
Well, I first met Simone last February, so I didn't know her as long as many here, but she left such a huge impression on me. I met her at a film festival at the red carpet. And, when I first saw her, not knowing who she was, I just thought, well, this lady belongs here. She just radiated something that made me feel that's the place for her, the red carpet. And she radiated such an unpretentious, sincere enthusiasm. When I first talked to her, and she was there with a good friend of mine, who was also a good friend of hers. So we started to chat. I visited her at her apartment a few times. And there's one particular memory I want to share. We've seen her love for kitsch, for incorporating kitsch into her art. And there is a place in the Californian desert, which is called Charlie Brown Farms, which is kind of like a novelty shop with a lot of kitschy items. And in March 2020, in early March, I had the idea, let's take Simone there and show her all the kitschy items. Let's see what's going on, how she likes it. And I would say this is actually one of my favorite all-time memories, not only one of my favorite memories with Simone, but really one of my favorite all-time memories. Imagine going with Simone to this store with all the kitschy items and, being with her as she's so enthusiastic and, the way of speaking about these things, the way she spoke about her art, it was just wonderful. And I feel one of her qualities that I found really impressive, she has this very joyful, sometimes very extroverted appearance, but I also perceived her as a very good listener. I had several very personal conversations with her when I was in California, and I'm now in Germany, and later on also via phone. And she gave some, very good remarks, very good feedback when I had some things that were on my mind. And the very last time I was in Los Angeles, I live in Germany, was on March 13, 2020, shortly before the lockdown started. My last evening before flying back to Germany was with dear friends, and Simone was among them. And since I went to Germany, literally the day I arrived in Germany, lockdown started, and I've been here since. I talked to Simone regularly on the internet, and we always said when it's possible to travel again, I'll come back to Los Angeles. We'll have the same dinner with the same guests again, and we'll go to the desert again, and we'll look at the kitschy items again. Then we'll go to Randsburg to meet another friend of ours who's an artist. And throughout lockdown, this was always a thought that was on my mind. I would say I associate Simone with carefree happiness. That's the best expression, probably. Those were like the carefree days in California for me. And that's something I looked very, very forward to. When I heard the news of her passing, I felt the same as many of you felt. There was one little thing that made me very happy in these dark days. We all know how much Simone loved her cat Ashes, a 21-year-old rescue cat who's now 22. When Simone passed away, I was just so worried about Ash's fate, and I learned through several friends that Ashes is now residing with a young artist, a young visual artist who takes care of this 22-year-old cat. And I know that Simone would be really happy about that. And I guess those are some closing words. I think that's something that would make Simone really happy. Yeah, the cat, I can actually tell you the cat is doing great. Her new person is, I just saw the question in the chat, just one little remark. The cat is with a girl named Tiffany Miller. She posts updates on Instagram about the cat. And she showed recently the cat, when she got the cat, obviously Ashes was really shocked, Simone, whom she loved so much, had died. And now the cat started to jump on Tiffany's bed and starts cuddling. So for a 22-year-old cat, she really radiates joyful youth. And I know this is something that makes Simone really happy wherever she is now.
Well, thank you so much, Alexander. And thank you for your film that we showed at the top of the memorial. Next up is Om and Shannon, followed by Daniel Villarreal. And then we need to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. So please remember to keep your comments brief. And Om and Shannon, take it away.
That's very heartwarming to hear about Ashes. And Simone is my hero too, and it was an honor to do 3 solo exhibits with her and a lot of exhibits with her. Always a fun and unique process to work with her, and she'll be dearly missed. And my wife, Shay, would like to say a few words as well.
Hey, so I'm a collector of Simone's. Right there is one of her foo dogs. I also have a very large pink dildo that Simone signed for me. I'm not going to share it with you guys. I don't use it. It's in a very special place. But the reason I have the dildo is because it was swag from a show that I curated, in which I curated Simone's work. And she also did a performance of a piece of a one-woman show she was working on, which chronicled her childhood in Hollywood, and specifically some of the extended and repeated sexual abuse that she experienced, sadly with her mother's complicity, which I believe might have, well, I'm not going to go into that, but I think that it's interesting and in about Simone's work and her place in art history is when you look at those assemblages that she did early on and you see the naked women spread out and vulnerable, and they've been covered with, their nudity often is covered with pussies that she drew, protecting them. And then in the same assemblage, you see clowns and Catholic references of purity and virginity. I think that you see a woman taking her trauma her own internal personal Holocaust and wrangling it and taking control and power and putting it out in the world and saying, look here, I've survived. I'm doing something to share my trauma with the world and to give you a place where you can find power as well. And I think that's a lesson that we can take from Simone, that yes, she was a very soft, loving individual, but she was also a survivor, and she turned her trauma into something productive. And let's all remember that when we think of Simone as well.
Yeah, and her work lives on. Like she's gonna live on through the power of her work for forever. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Our final speaker today will be Daniel Villarreal, and then Sean and I will wrap this up. Take it away, Daniel.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So I believe today is Simone's birthday, is it not?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So happy birthday, Simone.
Happy
Have
birthday.
have a really good one today. So I met Simone back in the late 70s, early 80s. She was my art opening buddy. We were also in the movie Speed together. So we spent 9 weeks on that bus. And I want to say two little things. Simone had this really wonderful nervous quality, like she seemed like, she didn't want to do anything dangerous, but at the same time, she was this really wild human being. I mean, she loved to party, and the other thing is we hung out in Boyle Heights because she lived there, and then that's where I grew up. And one of her favorite things is we would go to have a meal at La Parrilla, and then we would go and park by the house she grew up in, and we would just sit there and tell stories. So Mr. Greatly, and thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Anna, for that wonderful space that she has now at the Forever Place. That's where she belongs. She belongs in Hollywood. She was a star. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Daniel.
Daniel. Thank you.
We need to wrap this up. So I wanted to offer up the Wrinkle Room page, which you can find on Facebook. So if you wanted to share any remembrances or stories or photos or anything about Simone, you're welcome to do that at the Wrinkle Room page on Facebook. Sean?
Marcus, thank you for organizing this whole thing, finding the help from Michael, who's been running the Zoom in the background for all of us, and it's been a really special afternoon, and there's so much I heard today, and I'm so grateful to Martian, who took the artist talk that we did for that exhibition that Marcus that you moderated so beautifully that day. It was a really special night. If anybody wants to see the entire artist talk from that 3-person exhibition, I'll paste a link in the Zoom in a second, but it's also through the website, through their exhibition page. So thank you, everybody. Happy birthday, Simone.
Happy birthday, Simone.
One of the things I've gotten out of today is the idea that we all do our best to be artists to ourselves down to the core. I mean, it's really, so thank you all.
I wanted to really quick say a very special thanks again to Michael Ono, also to the 18th Street Art Center, and also to Andrew Abelson that Simone got such a kick out of, and he really came in at the last minute and do some heavy lifting for me so that I could keep it together and not fall apart and cry in front of you all. Thank you so much. And I know a lot of you I don't know. If I see you somewhere out in the world, please come up and say hi and let's talk about Simone. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday, Simone.